Yo, what's up, guys? It's Alice here, and today is the first of a series what I'm going to call My Take Tuesday. And it's essentially going to be me giving my thoughts on different things, such as, mostly like things going on in society. And I'm going to try to stay away from politics as much as possible. I don't really want to make it political, but it's sort of just going to be a series where I just give my thoughts on different things which are going on. And in this case, it's going to be on CS, so it's fitting I'm using CS here as my background. This is actually taken straight from my stream, which you can find a link to in the description down below. So basically, by the title of this video, I'm sort of going to be just recapping CS. And before I kind of go into that and my different gripes with CS at the current moment, I'm first going to give a little bit of background information on me, and why my position actually is, well, it shouldn't be held with any special weight, but why I feel like I have the right to make an opinion on CS. So you saw there, I am sober 4. Okay, so you're probably already thinking, why is this guy saying anything about CS? And I don't want to go into saying excuses like, I was a higher rank before and shit like that. Which is true, but I think everyone, was a higher rank back before the ranking update, which, now we're going back pretty far. But, I have over 2,300 hours in the game. I'm C plus on ESEA. This is actually on ESEA. Is Silver 4 my actual rank on MM? I think, that's debatable. In my recent games, I've been playing pretty bad, honestly, even in Silver 4, and even though my ESEA isn't all that bad. Obviously C plus is probably like MG area, but I don't know, that's a different thing for a different video. It's kind of interesting, honestly, the kind of predicament that you find yourself in when you play in Silver. But anyway, so today I'm just going to kind of, like I said, give my gripes on CS as a whole, bring up actually exact reasons why I have a couple problems with the game. And it's going to be kind of difficult for me to organize my thoughts, so sorry if I kind of go back on anything. But I'm going to try to cover as much as possible in a short period of time. So the first thing I really want to talk about is the SG. The SG and the AUG, which are I wouldn't say the two meta rifles now in the game, but they kind of are. You're starting to see them a lot more in pro matches, and just regular like pugs and just matchmaking games, and it's not hard to really understand why. It's a really good gun, in fact, an incredible gun. Specifically when we're talking about the SG, I mean, it has probably some of the highest damage charts for a rifle, comparable to the AK, and in my opinion, it's a very low skill weapon. And you think I'm just saying that because it has a scope, but I honestly don't feel that way. I feel like there's definitely people who do use the scope on the gun. I've seen people use the scope on the gun, like right there. I got killed by an SG, but without seeing some of the people's perspective who kill me with it, it's hard to tell how many people actually use the scope. But I would say since it does increase your aim, your accuracy by a considerable amount, I think it's fair to assume that there's probably a decent amount of people using the scope on it. And for a weapon with a scope on it, the fact that it can one tap, I think is just absolutely absurd. The fact that between the two terrorist rifles, like the two main terrorist rifles, the SG and the AK and the SG both essentially do the same damage, except the SG also has a scope on it. The spray is honestly a little bit easier to control than the AK, and it's just $300 more expensive. So the fact that a gun which is easier to use than the AK, slightly more expensive, like barely, like negligibly more expensive, has pretty much better stats all around than the AK, which is the harder gun to use skillfully. I think that's just absolutely absurd. And it's kind of the same story with the AUG when you think about it. Obviously, the AUG's not a one-tap, though, so there's less things to really pick apart with that. And just watching this, I realized that the stream quality is kind of poor. So kind of ignore that. But yeah, I mean the AUG, there's not as much to pick apart with that, or really just rifles in general on the CT side. On the note of CT rifles, the one thing I do have to mention is the kind of just the damage charts of just rifles overall. Talking terrorist and counter-terrorist inclusively. I think they do have kind of insane charts, especially at different ranges. A game that I played earlier today, I was actually in a close combat situation. It was actually an anti-pistol round. And somehow I put 3 bullets into him, and he put 3 bullets into me. And somehow he did way more damage with the pistol. And obviously I understand the whole different damage in different parts of the body thing, so I'm not gonna be too infuriated over that. But I just think the damage charts all around the board could kind of use a little bit of a fix, because using a rifle and hitting someone 3 times and doing less damage than someone with a pistol who hits you 3 times even at close range is kind of absurd. So that's just something I wanted to bring up. But another thing that I wanted to bring up while I was on the subject that really gets under my nerves is counter-strafing, because it's just such an absurd mechanic. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I understand some of the logic behind it, but this actually happened 3 times today to me, and it was actually the motivation behind making this video. But I was playing CS, and someone would come and they would peek me, and they would be running onto my screen. They would enter my screen in a dead sprint. Well, not dead sprint. They would have their gun out, but they would be running, and then they would just press the opposite key of whichever direction they were heading. So if they were pressing W and D, then they just pressed A once, and then they just tap at my head, and I'm dead. Because, and in this context, I'm talking about a terrorist doing it, but it's a similar story for CT. Obviously not quite as annoying because you don't get, one tap. But there's a really good episode, clip actually from Steel, where he complains about the very same thing. Okay, when you're playing a game of CS and you see someone just run out, okay, and they've run on your screen, that you have very little time to react. As a CT, and obviously CTs kind of for the most part play defaults, so you already know where to look as a terrorist, and so they just run out and just counter strafe, and then they have 100% accuracy almost instantaneously. I mean, that's just absolutely absurd to me, the accuracy recovery of some of the guns in this game, to where people just run out and they can just counter strafe once and they have 100% accuracy. And they just one-tap you. I mean, that's just nuts. I mean, they're on my screen for a solid second, maybe a second and a half, and before I can even get that many shots off, because obviously I have to flick, because like I said, they ran onto my screen, so they're not where my crosshair exactly was. They're already fucking firing, and they have 100% accuracy with a one-tap machine, the SG or the AK. So I'm just dead instantly, and there's nothing I can really do. And, I know a lot of people, especially on Reddit or anything, will just say, I'm just a shitter complaining. And I don't disagree with the fact that I'm a shitter. If you actually look at my stream, my current stream title and a couple of my videos are titled, Shitter Plays ESEA. So, I'm openly aware that I'm not the best player in the game. But I have played the game for 5 years, so... I've seen a thing or two, and I don't know if maybe it's just me and recently taking a break from CS and coming back to it, but I come back and it just feels like it doesn't even feel like the same game anymore. The character skins are a fucking joke. You can have, it's basically pay to win, because you can have a skin that literally blends in, like on Cash. This map here, there's a specific CT skin you can have which looks green. I mean, you can't fucking see that thing, unless you have fucking supervision. So, I don't know exactly if anything that I'm saying really makes any sense to anyone. with a better skill level. But I mean, it's just incredible, how much has really changed. And coming back from quitting for a couple months, I mean, it's just it just doesn't even feel the same anymore, honestly. I don't know if any metas have really particularly changed, but it's just the game's just so much more unbearable to play for some reason. And I guess I tried to explain it in this video, but if you gave me like another 30 minutes, I could probably think of 100 more reasons why the game isn't good. But kind of going back to the point, and the last point I really want to make on the note of the accuracy recovery of some weapons is really with the op, because that's another thing, thinking about it, that I've been having problems with in the last couple games that I've played. There's been people who have just fucking out of nowhere either jumped or just sprinted out with the op, and they just stand still for a second, like less than that probably, and they scope and they shoot. Okay, I mean, seriously? Like, why is the accuracy recovery, and I get it, it's a sniper rifle, it's supposed to be accurate, but why are snipers encouraged to just run around and use the fucking op like a rifle by having such a fast recovery? I griped about the AK and the SG's recovery, but I somewhat understand those because, they're rifles, so, you should be able to be a little bit more aggressive with them. But with an op, I mean, and I know there's people whose play styles kind of are like aggressive ops, but I mean, I think it's kind of just absurd at this point when I see, an opper just sprint out of nowhere and just stop for a second and I'm dead because his accuracy is at 100%. Instantly. Well, pretty much instantly. Might as well be instantly. So, that's just absolutely nuts. And I know they already nerfed that in the past, the movement speed with the scope, but perhaps the accuracy recovery could use a bit of a tweak too, because that's just fucking nuts. Yeah, and the last thing that I really want to talk about is some of the, I honestly don't even know how to word it, but just the accuracy in general of some guns, because I'm griping about people just instantly having 100% accuracy and then killing me. But one thing that I have noticed is my shots in particular, I feel like I'm staring straight at their head, and I wish I had a clip, and I might honestly have a clip. If I do, I'll insert it here, where I literally tap fire exactly at a guy's head. And, I'm not retarded, so I obviously understand that perhaps, my tap fire, I'm not giving enough time for the aim to fully recover. But, I mean, it's essentially tap firing, and yet somehow even through that, I am not hitting their head at all, even with my crosshair right on their head. And I seriously hope I can find this one clip from a couple days ago. This guy was literally standing still on my screen. And I was sitting there just constantly crouching and uncrouching and just literally spamming. Well, not spamming because, okay. I was spam tap firing at this guy's head. And I hit him 4 times through a whole USP mag with my crosshair on his head. I mean, that's just absurd. I really hope I can find that clip. But if not, you're going to just have to kind of take my word for it. But, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's had experiences like that where your crosshair is already sitting on their head, and yet somehow, even with good control of, your accuracy by not, spamming or running around or anything like that, your bullets just miss them. Or even when I am, just sitting there and I can only see their head, I'll shoot them. Like I said, let me repeat this, I can only see their head. And I'll shoot at them 3-4 times, die, and then I'll find out I hit them for like 30 in 2 shots. It really makes me wonder where my bullets go, where I can essentially, I'm guessing, wallbang them through either like a box or something that I didn't even know was wallbangable, and do 35 damage in 2 hits. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping there's someone else out there who kind of understands what I'm trying to get across. This video's kind of gone on a little bit long, but this channel is new, so to kind of wrap up this video, I'm gonna do a lot of streaming. on my Twitch channel, which I'm going to drop below. That's kind of what I've been doing up until now. So if you catch me there, you know, with this whole quarantine thing, I'll probably be streaming the next time you check. So just go there, check it out, follow it if you enjoyed this video. Of course, subscribe, like, all that stuff. You know, it's a new channel, so I'm hoping to get some videos out soon, and just have some more content out in the next couple days. Less opinionated. So if you didn't like this video, which I'm sure it's probably going to be pretty polarizing, because, you know, there's some people out there who just they never want to acknowledge that CSGO has flaws, even when it does. So if you're one of those people, you know, feel free to dislike. I'm really not taking it too hard. I mean, it's a new channel, so if you want to, that's all fine. And I'll catch you guys in another video. So sounds good. See ya.